Second clue coming later. When he appeared in Kildare earlier this week, 3,000 people went to see him. In Sligo, 8,000 turned up. And last night in Armagh, there was a crowd of around 5,000. And no, he's not the latest teen pop idol. He's a priest. But 78-year-old Father Peter Rookey is no ordinary priest. Many people believe that he can perform miracles. This was the scene at St Malachy's in Armagh last night.
He was in Medjugorje, I was living in Medjugorje.
And has he helped you before?
Yes, he's great. Full of spirit.
What did he do before? What happened the last time?
What happened? Just the spirit was moving everywhere.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
And do you hope these two people can be seen tonight?
I hope so. I hope so.
If it's God's will.
It's God's will, that's right.
Very I heard about in the Irish news.
And did you get inside the church?
I got outside the church and I got shaking his hand.
And why are you here?
I'm here because of God's grace. God gave me the grace to come here to meet a very holy man.
And did you get what you wanted
I
tonight?
got from my blessing of Jesus.
Feel better for it?
I feel so much better. Top of the world.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lifted his head straight up in the air and turned it right round and looked at Christ. And he never done that before.
You disappointed? No, I'm not disappointed in a way because I know I'm going to get heard by the priest. Yeah, a great belief in him because I've been writing to him in America before I ever seen him at all. She wrote to him a personal reply. I love it. It's powerful.
Do you feel he can? He has the power to get you out of that chair?
Absolutely, yeah.
Now lock all doors, Rich. Right, your fingers.
Now those were the pictures we took outside the church grounds of St Malachy's in Armagh last night. If you think they were emotional, we had many, many more pictures that we took inside the grounds, but this morning the St Malachy's were about to threaten us with a court injunction if we showed those pictures. So needless to say, we didn't show the pictures, but I think you get the flavour. To add to the flavour, two of the Kelly researchers were there last night. Chris, first of all, what did you see?
Thousands of people, Jerry. The place was absolutely packed. The church was filled to capacity. I was told there was about 2,000 people inside the church. We estimate about 1.5 outside. Huge crowd, and all to see Father Rookey.
And who did you talk to, and what kind of stories were they telling?
We couldn't get inside the church, unfortunately, but those we spoke to outside were there to see the man. Some wanted to be healed, some were just there for the feel-good element of it.
But you felt most people did want to be healed, did they? You feel?
Yeah, there were a lot of sick people there. There was ambulances, as you probably saw in the film. There were stretchers. I mean, people did want to be healed. They were expecting miracles.
Patricia, did you see any miracles?
No, I didn't see any miracles. I didn't see anyone rising out of a wheelchair, but I would say that the feeling of they weren't all sick. There were people who wanted to be spiritually renewed.
But I mean, they were coming up in their thousands. They were thrusting babies at Father Rookey. They were trying to touch his robes.
Yes, indeed. It was. They had a lot of people had come hoping to get an individual blessing, and he was given a general blessing outside the church, which was the most practical, sensible thing. Because if he had gone through the church grounds, there would have been mass hysteria. There could have been people hurt in the crowd.
So normally he would lay hands on people, but last night he didn't.
Yes.
What did it? In a couple of sentences, what did it feel like to you? Young fella going to see something like this.
To me, I mean, if there were miracles going to happen, I didn't see them. And to that end, I was quite disappointed. But I did sense hope, which was great.
How did you feel about the whole thing?
A sense of contentment. It was just a contentment throughout the church grounds.
Have you seen anything like it at all?
When the Pope came to Ireland, that's the feeling.
That's the feeling. When the Pope came to Ireland. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Father Rookey. Welcome, Father. Welcome. Sit down. Father, you've caused quite a stir in Northern Ireland. Indeed, you've caused quite a stir all over Ireland. Does this type of thing happen to you no matter where you go?
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
It isn't I that does it. It's the Spirit. It's the Lord.
Are you a miracle man?
What is that?
Are you a miracle man? Do you perform miracles?
No, I simply pray for people, and the Lord does it all. I'm just a poor sinner, Jerry.
But he does it through you, Father. Why has he chosen you?
You have to ask him that one, I'm afraid. All I know is that all he has to work with is sinners, because in the sight of God we're all sinners. And of course, in the medieval theologians put it right, in the scholastics, and they said there's nothing up here in our intellect that doesn't first come through our senses. So if God's going to come to us, he made us like that, he has to come to us through our senses. And somebody we can see, hear, smell, touch, or feel. And so that's why I guess James in his letter says, anybody sick among you, let them bring in the elders of the church. I think I qualify. I just turned 78, so I'm an elder. If I'm not an elder by now, I'll never make it. Anyway, bring in the elders of the church. They will lay their hands upon them and anoint them with oil, and they will recover. And
but
that's
Father,
what I do.
Yes, you have laid hands on people.
Mm-hmm.
They have recovered.
Yes.
Can you give me some of the examples, some of the things that you've been involved in?
Well, there have been thousands and thousands. See, I began this work way back in Northern Ireland, incidentally, when we came over here, 7 of us, under the aegis of Father James Mary Keane, another Servite like myself. We are Servites, not termites. Anyway, we don't mind being called termites as long as we're not boring, you know, like the termites. Well, anyway, we came over here and settled in, thanks to Cardinal Dalton, the Archbishop of Armagh, who invited us in, and we took over the castle of Owen O'Neill. From the first days we were there, people came to be blessed, and that was way back in August of 1948, as I recall. And some of them returned and said they were cured. And the first thing you know, busloads of people were arriving. We had to have the services outdoors. So,
What kind of people have you cured? What kind of illnesses have you cured?
Oh, well, last night in Armagh, a man who came out there in those early days, in 1950. He was subject to regular attacks of epilepsy, and he said he gets up and witnesses almost invariably when we come that he has never had an attack since. And I think we have some people here in the audience tonight from those early days. A young lady here and her father who was born blind, and
yep.
Maybe he'd like to tell the story.
Let me get those testimonies. I'll talk to some people that are in the audience. Incidentally, audience, if anybody wants to come in with a question, do feel free to do so, because it's a fascinating subject. Let me start with Patrick and Patricia McGee. Where's Patrick? How are you, Patrick? This is your daughter, Patricia.
That's
Where are you from, Patrick?
Belfast. Here.
Now, tell me your story, because it goes back nearly 38 years to you.
It goes back to
43 years.
1953.
Okay.
She was born on 14th of 51, was
51, okay.
She was born on the 14th of May. And we were living with her other mother-in-law at the time, and after about 6 weeks, the mother-in-law says there's something wrong here. This child's not following noise or nothing. and took her to our family doctor. He examined her, but she was too young. Come back in a fortnight, yes. He referred us to the Children's Hospital, and they put her through all tests, and after quite a time we were told she was blind. You know, shock. We're devastated. So I thought I'd go up. My mother was dead and my father was away in the country up in Monaghan, and I went up and I told him about it. He says, something can be done about this. There's a good man down in Benburba and the people are flocking to him. Try and get there. Don't give up.
Right, so you went.
Came home, wrote to him, got a letter to go the following Saturday at 2 o'clock. We went there. It was terrible crowds, but we had the letter from him. We got pushed up to the front, and Father Peter came out, and he heard it out, talked to him, and he put his hands on our head, and he says, your child will see. And at that time, something come over me, because he was transparent at that time. But we left, we headed home, and it was no type car. There was a blind on the back window, and there was a tassel on it.
Don't forget to been easy.
And the granny says, oh my God, she says, look at what she's doing. She's topping the tassel. We pulled up, she says she can see. Pat can see since that.
And you've been seeing since that day. You obviously remember very little about it.
Very little. No, but I'm very good. I've been no problem with my eyesight.
I see you're wearing glasses now.
Yeah, it's just short-sighted, but I'm a very, very lucky person to be able to see anything, aren't I?
Let me take on another story. Geraldine McElwain, and this is Ryan, who's 11 years old. Geraldine, tell me your story about Father Peter.
Ryan was diagnosed as having a massive brain tumour in behind his eye.
What age was he at this time?
He was 6.
Right.
And they just told us in the hospital that the type of tumour Ryan had was very, very rare. There's very little known about it in the great Western world. That's the exact words that they used. So they took Ryan in and done some surgery on him and performed then the radiotherapy on him. And during the radiotherapy, an aunt of mine came round to the house one night and she said, listen, there's a healing priest on in Holy Cross Church. You want to take Ryan down? And at that stage, my faith had been back about 4 steps. And I said, right, I'll go. So I headed on down to Holy Cross Church that night and listened to Father Rookey. He's a very humorous man. And a sermon, and after the sermon he invited us all up to the front for the healing service. And I brought Ryan up, and as I was waiting along in the line for Ryan to be blessed, he walked past us and then he stopped. And he came back to Ryan and me, and he said, who's sick? And I said, my son, Ryan. And he then blessed him with the oil. And at that stage, I can remember, like, I'd went to disbelieving Thomas. I just felt it in the pit of my stomach. I just couldn't, the tears just wouldn't stop coming. And I cried and cried. And I can remember thinking to myself, my God, if this man asks me anything, I'll not be able to answer him. And there's about 200 people behind me. How am I going to get back to the seat? But he did ask me something. And when I looked up, he put his hand on my cheek and he said, the tears of a mother. After that, I went home and my faith must have bounced forward about 14 steps.
And what about Ryan's eyesight?
The eyesight? No, he's lost the sight in the eye.
Right.
But Father Rookey doesn't know this. I met Father Rookey in RT in May. Ryan went up for his annual appointment to the Royal, and the surgeon hadn't seen Ryan in about 2 years. And when we went in, the surgeon started doing a few tests with Ryan, and then he said to Ryan, do you know something, you're a wee miracle man? And he laughed. And I can remember sitting in the seat and I thought, well, this is the final piece to the jigsaw.
And this was
because they'd never said, you know, Ryan is cured,
yes.
or Ryan. And I said to him, doctor, do you mean that? And he says, yes. We as doctors can only do so much, and after that, it's up to a man greater than us.
This is Kevin Flynn and Jim Flynn. This is Kevin in here. Kevin, tell me your story.
Well, about 3 years ago, I contracted encephalitis and quickly went into a coma with it.
What exactly is encephalitis?
It's a viral inflammation of the brain. I went into a coma with this, and on the 12th of July, 91, I was given last rites. A few days later, I was given 6 hours to live by a doctor who told my wife that I wouldn't make it through the night. Father Rookey came to see me, and around about 10 days later, I came out of the coma.
What did Father Rookey do?
He prayed over me. I was in the coma at the time. It was my father that went and got him.
Jim, what happened when you brought Father Rookey?
Well, the previous night I had gone to a ceremony similar to what was in Armagh in a local church, and Father Rookey had asked for catchers. Catcher is a person that stands behind the people that Father Rookey is praying over in case they are overcome by the Spirit.
Does this happen a lot?
It happens, well, frequent, you know, and I would be there to assist the person in case they would fall. We were there for about 4 hours, and when I came home, I had my wife and my daughter-in-law, Kevin's wife, informed me that Kevin's had deteriorated very badly, and they transferred from one hospital to another. He'd received the last rites, and things were pretty black. He was being transferred to get a brain scan, and we feared the worst. We contacted Father Rookey, and we asked Father Rookey to come along and to pray over him. Even though Father Rookey had a very busy schedule, he did consent to come along, and he did pray over him. And as Kevin has said, about 9 or 10 days later, he did come out of the coma, and we were very pleased.
Are you cleared now medically?
No, I still have the odd problem, but at that time I had to learn to walk again, and my mind was all confused. It's dear enough cleared up now, you know.
And you put this all down to the power of Father Rookey?
Well, I put it down to God, but through Father Rookey.
Okay. Thank you all for those testaments. Father Rookey, you know, they're the success stories. They're the people that have been cured. Thousands upon thousands come to one of your evenings. What about all those thousands that are not cured? Why are they not cured?
Everybody who prays receives a healing. The way God gives us his healing is his business. But if I pray, I receive a healing. In fact, the longer I pray, the more beautiful I become, back into that image and likeness God first made Adam and Eve. Because praying cleanses and makes us beautiful. I think one of the problems in our praying is that we're looking for success in our praying. Sure, it's nice for me to see people come out of the wheelchairs. I'd say about even over half of the people who come in to the healing services in wheelchairs push them out of the place.
At least half?
I would say about half in my, over the years. I would say about half of those people. And anyway, it's nice to see that.
Well, it's unbelievable, but it's unbelievable that half of those people that came in wheelchairs will walk out.
But the thing is, God did not call you and me to be successful. He called us to be faithful. That's an expression Teresa of Calcutta came off with, and some reporter asked her, to what do you attribute your success? She said, God didn't call me to be successful, he called me to be faithful. And I think that's where it is. If I am faithful to my prayers, I am being healed. You and I have both gone to hospitals to cheer people up. We've been cheered up by them. Yeah. Whatever it was, accident, whatever it was, has made them a different person.
But can you heal non-believers? Can you heal non-Catholics?
Jews, Muslims, non-Catholics, everybody has come to the healing services. I remember 3 years ago a Hindu from India. His parents brought him. He was blind. A young man in his 20s. He was healed instantly, and somebody asked him after, "Can you remain a Hindu after this?" He said, "Well, I'll have to pray about that."
Yeah. Can you heal through a television lens? Can you heal through a telephone line?
Oh, much of our healing goes on through the telephone, or through the miracle prayer, which we send out to people. Just in a lighter vein, a lady said in London, wrote us about 2 years ago, I believe, that somebody had handed her one of the miracle prayers. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yes, I've seen the prayer,
yes. But she said she started praying that. She hasn't had a drink since. She was a confirmed alcoholic. So it's, I don't know what I did with them, but I've got one here somewhere.
We'll see them in a minute.
Anyway, that's where it is. I often think of Monica, Saint. She wouldn't have that saint in front of her name if she didn't pray those 40 years or so for her pagan husband and her wayward son Augustine, and she became a saint in the process.
For over 30 years, Father, you didn't heal.
That's right.
Your own order asked you not to do that.
Well, they didn't exactly say that, but they gave me other jobs, which engaged me, and but I felt that those. I always felt. I have a vow of obedience, and so. I've always felt the obedient man will speak of victory.
But the Catholic Church is also a little bit reluctant about you, because we were talking about you, because apparently you don't go into the Diocese of Down-on-Conor. Right. And it says here, after previous healing services, there was concern expressed to the bishop about the atmosphere that you create, the excitement, this bordering on hysteria. And they really didn't want you in Down-on-Conor. Is that a problem you have even within the church?
Well, as a matter of fact, the bishop has not forbidden me to come into the diocese, but it's just that we haven't had healing services here because I think some people perhaps have taken the wrong tack on our healing services. My main thrust in the healing services is simply to present Jesus crucified and his mother Mary, because as our mother of sorrows, two perfect, sinless people who suffered more than any other person who ever lived. As Paul said, I can only preach to you Christ and him crucified, which is a conundrum to the Greeks and anathema to the others. And so that's really our pitch. And I tell people it's a constant theme with me, and I'm glad to underline this in the light of the beautiful things that are happening in Northern Ireland right now. I can't tell you how what great joy is bringing to this old sinner to hear about the truce and all of that, ceasefire. But my great pitch is the peace that the Lord gives us. I was blind, and I was healed only by prayer. But if I'm going to get my sight back and still go to anathema, into Gehenna, as the Lord calls it, it's useless for me to get my eyes back. What I need to have It is a change of heart. And that's where the action is in this healing.
Father, we're going to have to leave it there. I know you're in Cavan. You're staying on, you'll be in Cavan and you'll be in Dublin. But thank you very much for coming in and talking to us tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, Father Peter Rookey. Thank you very much, Father. Stay with us. Stay with us. Have we, sit down, Father, for a moment. I just wanted to check with the audience. Have we any skeptics at all in the audience? Anyone that doesn't actually believe in what we've been talking about? No? Everybody's quite happy with what you've heard this evening? And believe? Yes. Are you happy, or are you slightly skeptical of what you've seen?
No, not that I did have, I suppose, confusion. I went to see Father Peter Rookey in Mount Argus in Dublin. My purpose of going wasn't that I wanted anything, more an observer. I looked, and my experience was I did see people getting up from wheelchairs and walking.
You saw it?
I did see that with my own eyes. You know, I was absolutely fascinated with all this. I started to question. I didn't know what this slaying in the spirit or resting in the spirit was. I was observing and seeing these people, as the other gentleman mentioned, there was catchers, and I thought, what is this? Is it a show?
Had a profound effect on you?
It did. It did. You know, I say, is this hypnosis or whatever? And then as time went on, my experience was that, yes, the Lord does use people with different gifts. Father Peter Rookey is gifted for healing. Maybe not everyone's cured, but Christ has no hands or feet or anything else but ours for to be used.
Thank you very much indeed for that. Thank you. There we leave it. I'm sure it's a yes, 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 yes. Well, thank you very much. Thank you, Father. I'm going to move things on.